Okay, I decided to bring it back for at least first, second cylinder here. We'll go ahead and plastic gauge, just put it together, and I'll show you what it is. That way we're all on the same page. The rest of them are probably going to just do my off camera. I will plastic gauge them all though, again, because it's not that I don't trust anybody. It's just a whole lot better idea to do them all. I mean, you're at that point. This is only going to take you an extra 20-30 minutes to do them all, and boy, it's worth the time, just in case, again, because they may have done done your machine shop may have done them all, and then possibly missed, I mean, a set of them or whatever. You just don't know, and you can trust anybody you want, but every once in a while, though, everybody's human. Everybody's going to make a mistake. Okay, so I put it across both of them. I know it's hard to see from your angle, but I put one that crosses both. Now, for you non-Ford guys who are actually watching, maybe you're my LS people who watch all my videos. I don't know why you watch me, but just in case you do, I appreciate it. I'm not saying I don't, but I understand. I watch several people, and I usually watch all their videos, but I don't watch a lot of live streams. I don't watch that kind of stuff because it's too slow. It's not moving. You're not showing me anything. You're just talking like I do way too much. That's why I'm surprised anybody watches me at all. But just in case you are, and you're a Chevy guy, not a Ford, Ford does stuff different. The first thing you notice, and I've said this before, if anybody's ever watched my videos, the cylinder that's the furthest forward, because they're all staggered, being the V pattern, you have to stagger them to all fit proper. So there's always one cylinder that's ahead of the other one and one that's always further back, and that's how that works on almost all your V series engines, just because of the way the rods have to line up and the rods have to miss each other riding on the same journal, so everything has to be staggered. So with that said, this particular cylinder here is the furthest forward. So if you turn this engine upside down like it's supposed to be, you'll find that it's actually on the passenger side. On your Chevrolets, small and big block, number one is on the driver's side. That's the furthest cylinder forward. Ford did it backwards, so when it's the other way around, at least on the small block, maybe I better say it that way. I don't know Ford engines that well, but I do know that number one is the passenger side. So on the V8 small block 302, I'm just saying that. I think all their small blocks are the same. But with that said, Ford also did not go even on one side, odd on the other, like a Chevrolet. Chevrolet is 1357, the other side is 2468. Ford didn't do that. Ford did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So one side is 1 through 4, the other side is 5 through 8. So keep that in mind when you take all that stuff apart. You must pay attention to that. So this one stamped number one. So it actually, mind you, if your machine shop did it proper, and they usually do, they're not prone to screw up like that. This actually has an arrow forward, so it goes like that. And I don't have my rod cap ready for me. I do have the bearings in this particular case. The rod bearings do not make any difference. Top and bottom are the same. In this particular application, check your application. I do not have the rings on this. I do not have any oil on this. So without any oil, it will kind of fight you a little bit going in. I do have to put that down to line this up. Be really careful sliding that in. Do not allow anything to hit the crankshaft. Besides the bearing material. This is why you do it without the rings in it, because by this point you would be beating it into place, or tapping it top with a hammer, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to put cap on and two nuts. The one is facing that direction. There's no debris. And again, this is the same way as the crank. Do not allow this to spin. Do not turn the crankshaft. That's why I put it at the very top in the center, so I could get to both sides and not turn the crankshaft. Same deal, you will tear up a brand new set of bearings and possibly your crankshaft messing around like that. We're just going to snug them up. One and one are facing the right direction. Now we're going to do this side end would be number, this one being the front, be number 5 on this side. So number 5 is ready. Checking for debris. Looks good. So this is where these videos that other people put out are really, really crucial when you go to build your own engine, or even just learning about anything, especially though the precision amount of everything on these engines move and require lubricant to make them not do stupid and tear stuff up. So anything you do, what I'm doing right here, man, just be super careful. This is just, I'm not saying you're going to hurt it or damage it, but if you turn something when it is dry, you will pay for it. That is just the way it works. Okay, number 5. And now the numbers are this direction. Come on. Come on. It's hitting on it's hitting the other rod cap just a bit as it's going down. Okay, something I didn't get ready was, of course, the right socket. I didn't have it all the way down. Okay, I do not have the proper socket. I told myself to get prior to starting this video, and I did not. And the bad thing is, I think all my half-inch drive stuff is outside. Oh man. So what happens when you get too much junk? Good grief. I'm dropping everything off camera. All I wanted was a socket. Alright. I have metric, not what I wanted. That's what I got. Okay, let me get it should be, is it 13? Yeah, good enough. Okay, and survey says torquing down rod caps. Okay, rod bearing bolts V8 302 is 19 to 24 pounds. Wow, that ain't very much, is it? Well, we're gonna go the full 24 right off the bat. Okay, we are at 24. To me, that's not very tight, but I don't remember what the small block Chevy is either, so. Okay, there's 24. Yes, even at 24 pounds, I use my breakover bar to loosen. I just don't like using my torque wrench for loosening. It's not really, I don't think it'll hurt it, but it's just not its design. Yeah, if you follow what I'm saying. So, alright. I'm going to leave that number 1 just on there just a tad, and the reason I'm doing that is so in case something lets go that I don't want to let go, it doesn't fall. Be very gentle. Make sure it doesn't catch on anything on the way down. There we go. And let's get number 1 out. The clearance is on the rod. Oil clearance is 0008 to 0015. Basically, it's the same as the the main, as far as it's off a little bit on the low end, on the tight end, but it's, I guess that thing's trying to fall out of there. That's why you hang on to it. Without rings, she's just going to slide right out. All right, so there we go. Let's get the old checker reader out. See what it says. It's a little looser than I like, but again, this is, you know, everything is brand new, shiny. It's 0015. It's exactly like the, it's right on the end of the loose side, and that doesn't bother me so bad. Like I said, it'd be nice if it was a tad bit tighter, but it's not enough to hurt anything. It is still well within spec. It's just it's a little looser than I would normally want to run. I would like to see it between those two numbers. You know, I'd like to put it up there and find that it's a little tight on the one side, you know, over the other side, but that's okay. Again, this isn't a race engine, although a little sloppier is better on a race engine than not. Again, this isn't a performance build. This is just a 200 horse 302 to go into an old Mustang, so this is plenty. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them, get them all done. I'm going to do it off camera because it's the same sequence, nothing changes there, and I'll bring you back when we start actually. I'm going to put the rings on. I may do a quick video on putting the rings on them. I may or may not, just to kind of show you. There's a couple of ways of doing it. Buying an actual ring spreader is probably the safest way to do it, because they would rather go that way a little bit, but I don't like doing. To me, I would break one. I'm just that kind of person. But you get an idea of what we're doing here, and I'm going to do it 4 more times or 3 more times, and then I'll bring you back when we start putting the rings on, and we'll show you how to put some pistons in. Well, okay, here's the deal. Everything's checked out about the same, and I'm going to be honest with you. I know, and I've said this maybe a few minutes ago or maybe a few hours ago. I really don't know. I've had a few things happen since I was on last. Everything is on the loose end, according to this book. Now, I might be able to Google it, which I probably should do, and come up with different numbers or more acceptable or whatever. I don't know. I would rather it be just a tad tighter than it is, but I've trusted this machine shop for over 20 years, and he's never done me wrong. But I don't know what happened. I don't know why, but everything is around the .0015. A couple of them was even a tad looser than that. It wasn't a .002, but it was a little. Since 0015 is absolute maximum it could be, I had a couple of them that were just a tad more than that. So I'm a little disappointed, and in most cases I would load this stuff up and take it back to the machine shop, specifically the crankshaft, and have him turn it to 20, and then have him double check everything again prior to doing it. But again, this isn't a race motor. We're only talking something that's 200 horse, and it's my engine. Meaning, if I was building this for somebody else, absolutely it would go back to the machine shop, because I don't care for this. It's not. Believe me, I have drove stuff that had a lot more space than this in it, but I really don't like this. So with that said, I'm not going to harp on it anymore. We're just going to go on, and so I have the ring packs here. And they're not in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that would be, the 1 is always the top groove. And heck, you may not be able to see them. It's probably off camera. Top groove is your compression, if I'm not mistaken. And your second groove is, it doesn't make a difference. Somebody's texting me. But usually they have some type of instructions, multiple languages. That's a pretty language, but I don't know what it is. It's like some type of Arabic or something. Anyway, always start with your oil ring, and that would be the 3rd one in line. And this is what I do. There are a 3-piece design. Every one I've ever ran into, as far as oil rings go, regardless of how many cylinders there are, they are all a 3-piece so far. I'm sure there's some out there that are not. But, and I've got these stuck together. I do not know how. There it is. So that is the center part, and then you should have 8 of those, and you should have 16 of these. And these are the, let's go, well, I'll show you. It's easier to show you than it is to not show you. I know they're off camera just a tad, but we're going to do one. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then we're moving on. Make sure there's nothing. Now, of course, this is if you're just re-ringing. These are brand new, so these are pretty clean. But make sure that you get all the carbon and garbage out of your used ones if you're using used ones. Make sure there's no cracks or deformities like it's been dropped. Not a whole bunch of really bad scuffs, especially on the skirts. Fords and LS motors, the small Fords, actually even the 2.3 4-cylinders we've had a lot of, especially if you over RPM them, they will like to crack a little bit here. I've seen all the Fords do it, and then the LS motors are really bad about piston slap, especially when they get on first start. So make sure that there's no damage. I do have a little bit of a nick on that. I don't like that. Well, these things fell over in a box a minute ago, so I know it was me that did it. Okay, but anyway, let's get on with it. You have 3 rings. Got top, middle, and the bottom. The bottom one's obviously the biggest, and that's your oil ring. These things come apart. Don't bend the crap out of them. Send that in the bottom. Make sure it's obviously spins free. Then you take, these are thin, and they stick together a lot, so make sure you only get one of them and not 4. Make sure you just have one of them. Find out where your separation is. Now that I just spun it around, I have lost it. Okay, it's back here on this side. Here's my separation here on this. It's this. I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to start this one at the very bottom. Just going to stick it in there, and then just slowly spiral around. Do not grab and just start bending. When you hit where it's separated, it will try to push out. So hold that with your finger, get past it, and slowly walk it all the way around. If you try to do the ends where the other end is, you'll really get in a fight trying to maneuver them around each other. Same deal here. Find your separation. Now that I've lost it again, I call it right there, and you take your, make a second one. Same deal. Here's my separation is right here. I can actually see it, so I'm going to move it to right here. Same deal. Walk it slow and easy. Do not get forceful. It'll walk itself on there, especially these. These are a lot easier to deal with. Do not let it drag down the side of the piston and scuff it, because these are aluminum. So there you go. Make sure none of the lines are lined, or none of the rings are lined up with each other. Nope. Everything looks good there. So that is the oil. It has 2 of the wipers. And then, so that's how that works. Okay, let's go to number 2 ring. This one's considered oil ring as well, if I'm not mistaken. There is a that's oil groove, piston. Yeah. Okay, so number 2, keep them separated. Do not mix up 1 and 2 together. And this actually is really cool. Let's see if I can get you on there where you can see it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to focus on it. And it's not going to focus, but right there where you can barely see it, that actually says top. So that actually tells you which way they go. They go up. So where's my piston I just had? It was this one. So this isn't too difficult, but this is where damage could happen. Make sure it's showing up. Yes, it's going to look funny at that funny angle. Start it. Get your thumb on the end right here where it starts in. It's not in the hole yet until you start moving it around, manipulating it just a little bit. Once it starts in, you can actually see it's starting in the groove. Not real good, but this is where you don't want to get carried away. And where it's hitting is back here on the back side. So you just want to slowly walk it without breaking the ring. And it will drag a little. Somebody is still texting me. It's probably my wife. I just told her that she has no driveway. And then just slowly walk. I'm sorry, you're kind of off camera here. But slowly walk it. Now right here I'm getting to that edge where I told you don't want to drag it. You can actually see where I drug that other one down just a tad. You don't want to do it with these because these will really booger it up. So just pull it out a little bit. Stick her on there. There you go. That's the second ring. Let's open the top. Number 1. This is your compression ring. They will actually even be a bit of a different color on the outside edge, and that is because these specific ones here, I have moly on the outside, or chrome, whatever you want to call them. So you look at them, they're shiny. You look at your second rings, you can definitely tell the color difference. So we just want one of these. And if they do not have any marks on them, then they can go either direction. And this one has no marks. Usually if they're marked, they'll be marked right there where they come together, either on, you know, one of these two sides, either on this side or this side. And then same with, you know, it'd be a mark there, and then it tells you in the instructions which way it goes. So anyway, it's the same type of a deal. Get it started. It's a little easier because it's on the top. You're not distressing it. The middle ring is the easiest one to mess up. So, but the same type of a deal. If you're not sure if it's going to fit, just stick it in the side there. Make sure that you're not, you know, make sure that the rings are right. Now, I ordered this as a set, ring and pistons together, so they better fit together. And then same type of a deal. I just scratched it when I told you not to do that, and that's it. That's the simplest way to put rings on. I'm going to go ahead and put the rings on the rest of them, and then we will come back and I'll show you how to install them in the block.